Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Son of a Blitch podcast. I'm here today with my good friends, Matthew Mitchell and Jonny Boots. How you guys doing today?
Excellent.
Doing great.
It's a little warm.
It is a little warm. We're here in Central Texas, and it is definitely hot. It's been like 10 days in a row of 100 to 110 degrees here, and it feels every bit of it in the shade.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. There's a pretty big heat wave going on right now in Texas. It's going to be dangerous. Yeah, for people. So
but we're
staying out of it.
We are at this moment. This is definitely the cool down hours for us inside the air conditioning. But we got after it this morning. Matthew Mitchell, why don't you lead us off talking about what happened and what transpired there?
So we have been seeing pigs on cameras consistently in the morning at a particular spot in this ranch, and so we came in last night and we were rather quiet, stayed around the house, didn't really do anything in terms of making noise. And this particular spot we can walk to in about 5 minutes. So this morning we got up and we just walked very quietly, got in the blind, and I thought it was really neat. We obviously were there to hunt the pigs, but right away we saw some action from deer, and the bucks are coming up, or they have the velvet now with the antlers, and so I don't know if have you John ever seen a deer?
No, like that.
Yeah.
No, it was fun. We were right there, break of dawn.
Yeah.
Looking out for the pigs. We knew they were coming, so I was a bit anxious.
Yeah. And I think seeing other critters probably kind of actually helped sort of the anxiety in the blind.
No, absolutely.
But he says, "Oh my, look at the one on the right," and I think even for somebody who hasn't looked at deer often, it was like, "Oh, that's clearly a big one."
Yeah.
Like just one that's sitting there that's clearly bigger than the others, and so we took some pictures, and and then there was a doe that came out to the feeder. And she was hanging around for a while. There's some raccoons, and so I think I kind of knew. Also, paying attention to the cameras, that perhaps like the pigs might be a little slow because there was other critters about. But once the doe left and the raccoons were there, they immediately took off all of a sudden, and so I was just in my head thinking like, okay, that was one of those tell signs. Either they just freaked out about something or like something else is coming. And so immediately, John, I don't know what you say, but it's almost like a whoa, and that the big sow steps out from the right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then we just kind of watched them both, like all three of them come in. So there was a sow and then two, I would say, between small and medium sized pigs. And so I immediately picked up the rifle just because with pigs and let's say mature bucks, you just sort of get into that mode. You got to go, you just never, they're skittish. You never know when they're going to take off. And we had long conversations the night before about which do you shoot? What are you thinking about? And I think for me, that small to medium size, we shot a lot of big ones lately. And so kind of wanted to like cook and go through some recipes for some smaller pigs, and just thinking about that. And so put the crosshairs on one of the smaller ones, and it was basically not broadside. It was facing away, kind of in a like quartering away basically. And then it turned, I pulled the trigger. I mean, even John, I think
it went down so fast that I really didn't even see it.
Right.
And then the other two bolted off, and I couldn't quite tell if it was all of them or not, because it kind of caught me by surprise.
Right.
You must have shot that thing within 20 secones.
Yeah.
At most.
And we know they've been hanging around there for 10, 15 minutes, but I just like they're skittish. You never know.
Sometimes you see them on there and they're literally on for 5-10 seconds. They run off. Yeah. So you never know. And that's with no human pressure around or anything, but who knows what else is out there that's spooking them. You might hear a sound and just bolt. So yeah, you got to kind of act quick.
And the deer were moving.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had seen. You didn't see when you left the blind. There was two more that came through.
Oh, really?
And so I think that was 8. So we saw 8 deer. So they were moving around too. And
that doe was hanging out, and it made us wait.
Yeah, she did make us wait. She was taking her sweet time.
Yeah, I know. Because we were expecting to do it at 7, And we ended up
with the
having
hogs,
to wait for
yeah.
another hour.
Yep.
I mean, that's how much they were
There's a lot of
like
activity.
showing up to every day on
Totally
the cameras.
patterned. Yeah.
Totally patterned. And when I shot, like John said, it went down, and just the angle of the land and like just the sloping of the land and the tall grass, you couldn't see what was under the feeder. So I also noticed that only 2 of them took off, and then they circled back around after about 5 minutes, and they were looking, like checking it. Hey, where'd the other one go? And so that was evident. Like that was clear at that point. Like that pig was down. And then I same size pig. I took a shot at it, and it landed, and it squealed like a pig and took off into the brush line. We knew exactly which way it went, and we did the old, like, we're gonna give it 10-15 minutes, and then John got down and went and got you, and then we show up over there at the feeder, and then we see the one that's down, and why don't you? There was the blood trail for the other one, but
there was. We definitely got on some really good blood right off the bat, and went in and started getting. It's very overgrown there, so there's not a lot of sunlight kicking through. So there's not like you can see the blood glistening on grass. Everything is like dark earth colors, and so it's like kind of tricky. You have to find some of the blades of grass that are kind of drying up, and then red will show up real well when they're that kind of yellowish, tan looking color. And occasionally you could see some like the sheen of something that's fresh, or like against a tree branch or something like that. But it was we got in there pretty deep. We pulled out the Onyx app, because I was like, all right, I'm going to track this, and just to see where all we went, and all these like little corkscrews that we had to go through, and like there's a kind of creek bed system out there. And I mean, we stayed on it for, I think, like an hour, and then it just kind of went cold. So, we heard one noise when we were kind of going through, and it's like, you don't know if it's the hog or a squirrel or a raccoon or anything. So like we waited, and we were real silent, didn't hear anything again. So it's hard to say if it's pushed or not, but I get the feeling that it's, it may be out there. It's either running around or not.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate that we weren't able to go after it, but we always are very, very serious about what we're doing with that, and making sure that we're getting the animal and giving all best efforts to retrieve. And, the other thing too, it's like that flip side of that coin, where it is this invasive species, there's one less, there's people who are eradicating them at high numbers, and you're still not being able to keep managing them here. So it's like the people that aren't aware, there are billions of dollars of damage by hogs annually. They're pushing out other wildlife that's native to that area. This is an invasive species. In Texas, we can hunt them 24/7, 365, multiple means. And so it's really something that people are trying to get rid of. And even if we used to kill 50 to 100 of them here a year. We trap and hunt. I mean, that's a lot. And there would still just be, the same amount the next year. And then all of a sudden it dwindled down. We didn't see them for years, I mean, you were out here, Matthew, hunting for a whole season. We didn't see a single one. I think we saw one on camera, maybe, or two. But, so now to have some that are coming back and patterned, and, we want to eat them because they're so delicious. And we have some really good recipes we've tried. I mean, you just did, why don't you talk about the dishes you just did? You had some amazing ones a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, I did guisada de puerco, and out of the Hog Book by Jesse Griffiths, it's called Boar guisada, but it's it's basically a South Texas, North Mexico style meat gravy, if you will, slow cooked, and and then the other one was called, it's his favorite out of the book, and it's called paprikash, and it's a Hungarian sort of paprika heavy dish, like paprika heavy in terms of the main spice, and you serve that over egg noodles. But it's done the same way. It's slow cooked, and you really, I think slow cooking a pig, like I grew up in North Carolina, and we did a lot of smoking of the shoulders and pulled pork, and that's my favorite way, to enjoy a pig. And these wild pigs, I mean, they're no different than the farm pigs. As a matter of fact, I actually like the fat on them a little bit more. I think, there's a lot of egg corn eating, and just from the just from the wild, it just sort of has a more of a nutty flavor, in my opinion. So, but they really are good eating. And again, that's why I like kind of went after those smaller ones from that aspect. George he just got a new smoker recently. And I think, that's definitely some of that meat's going to go in the smoker, and, they're, fantastic, critters. I think Jesse Griffiths, the cookbook we were referencing, he's done a good job of trying to highlight, they're invasive, but while they're here, let's take advantage, and make it part of the meat that's in our freezer.
Great table fare. And, Mr. Jonny Boots, you had that paprikash at your house. And so you kind of had the tail end, not that he fed you the tail end, but you had the tail end of that story of, being able to like then have the table fare of that animal. But you were in your first time in a hunting blind this morning ever. And you're then seeing on the first hunt a hog get taken. You got to see all sorts of deer and wildlife, raccoons, and kind of get to see the day awaken. You're new to this. So why don't you kind of talk to folks about like how, what your experience has been thus far coming out to the ranch and what that's been like, this being your second trip. And I mean, it started, within however many hours we're here, 8 hours or something like that. It's like you're in the deer blind, but last trip, was a little different. So if you just want to lay that out, maybe you can kind of talk about what that experience has been like leading up to the shot.
Yeah, it was really interesting the first time I came here. I'm kind of laughing thinking about it, because this is, it's like, I think about it, you got to earn your fun here. It's like you're working, and it's like that experience where you get to kind of get completely distracted from everything that you've been dealing with. I haven't been out in the country really even, for the last, I'd say 5 to 7 years. So, I didn't do it a lot as a kid. Didn't spend a ton of time, learn how to hunt or anything like that. I've traveled and done all those experiences, but, to kind of have that raw experience with friends where you get to come out to a place and learn something new that honestly, most people in Texas, especially when I moved here, they grow up in that culture. And so, for a guy like me that didn't grow up here and didn't have a family that, hunted or owned land anywhere, is really a wild experience coming here, as an adult man, so it's kind of a little nerve wracking just because you're learning a lot of new stuff. And sometimes you almost feel like it's like a little juvenile, what you're learning, like a little, like you're a kid.
Right.
And it's like you're in one way getting, the fascination of doing something, new and exciting and very primal,
Sure.
But it's really cool. So I just wanted to kind of step back and look at it, from a more, overall experience level. But like, coming here, it's really also just hanging out with buddies, getting to actually, maintain a property that's, what was very interesting hearing your history and kind of how you talk about it and all the stories that have built up over the years here. You get to kind of, hear a little piece of that every time you come, or, every morning when you're out doing something to, either, whether it's mowing grass, fixing something, clearing lanes, all that stuff, going, practicing shooting, hunting in a blind, you get to kind of hear then the past experiences as you guys talk about it. And, for me, that's all new.
Sure.
Like you guys have this kind of build up together, which is also really cool to see. So, I mean, it's a lot. It's drinking out of a fire hose. I mean, when you first, start learning about hunting.
Yeah.
Almost over your skis too.
Yeah, absolutely over your skis all day. And to be
Send
honest,
it, Jonny
I'm not
Boots.
used to that either. Like I'm not used to that. It's a there's, for me personally, I'm in control of a lot of aspects of my life. But like I come out here and it's like a new thing where I have no control, and there's you know, quite a bit of also patience and learning and opening your mind that has to happen, which is, you know, for me, it's very new.
I didn't start hunting until I was in my 20s.
Oh, yeah.
Or late 20s, right? So I know what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's something there. I think there's almost a part of me when I was first learning where I'm questioning, why didn't I learn this as a kid? Like,
yeah.
Why am I just now catching up to all this? And lucky enough, I grew up fishing. I knew what that was. I knew, you know, there was that part of us. So like in my family, but I mean, I think when it comes to hunting and sort of like fishing is a little abstract, right? You're just pulling this thing up out of the water, and, you know, it's a lot of fun, and, you know, it's fun to eat and all that stuff. But like, there's something about the land side of being an outdoorsman, you know, like kind of like how George has the wildlife conservation, you know, on this land here, and like trying to cultivate an environment that is prime for every native species here. And when you like get in, when you sort of understand the essence of that and like the care for that, and hunting is part of caring for that, you know, it's like not only just the skill set, but sort of the idea of like this connection to the land is overwhelming. It's like I like what you said. It's like coming out of a fire hose, you know, at you.
Well,
but,
you hit on something, you know, it's also that experience with y'all and how deep and rich that history is very different. I mean, you know, I go on a work trip with someone. It's like you said with fishing. Sometimes fishing, 90% of it's just charter fishing. And you go out on a boat with somebody, you catch a bunch of fish. You don't have to really love fishing. You don't have to be immersed in it. You don't have to, there's no accountability for it. You go out, you know, you usually don't own the boat, you don't, you know, whatever. It's the whole thing. And I think what's really different about this experience is that, you know, like I said, the rich history that's there, the stories, the raw nature of it. So it's not just me getting to come and you know, work out here, you'll learn about hunting and all that. There's a lot deeper meaning to it.
Yeah.
And I think that's a little bit more intimidating because it's more personal.
Oh, absolutely.
So,
and you know, the stories that I talk about, that's just a build up over, you know, my adulthood. Right. And so I think that what you're talking about, it subsides a little bit, you know,
sure.
and you like once you immerse yourself fully into the sort of the culture of hunting and that lifestyle.
Yeah.
But, you know, I think today was a great example of always learning, you know, like that I'm all like at some point when George and I are on a blood trail, because we've tracked mine over the years, and I'm still learning how to look for blood and like just the small signs. Like today, I was noticing a lot more around the blood, how beat up the earth was from, you know, like I think digging in and changing course and all that.
Yeah.
And that was something I don't often notice, you know. And so just like every time you come out here, you're here twice now. You know, you're just going to keep layering it on. And it's going to be like, you'll go from where it's new, overwhelming. It's like anything in life, right? Like
sure.
you just get more familiar. But when you really start to feel a part of the culture and that, in terms of like, you know, you talked about passing this along to your boys, you know, I think that there is a fulfillment in that, you know, like and I think that's something that I hope you're starting to see, even just being.
Well, I'm super excited. Oh,
you know.
I absolutely see it, and I see the potential in it. I'm super excited about, you know, my boys being able to grow up in that kind of Texas culture of hunting and being outdoors and, you know, working with the land, all that stuff. You know, it amazes me because, I come from the upper Midwest and, there was some of that there, but it's nowhere near. It's kind of like baseball in Texas. No one understands it until you're down here.
Yeah, it's
and
true.
Then you see how serious people take it.
Yeah.
But that's serious and, leads to enlightenment, and then it leads to a lot of knowledge being passed on to others. So, like, one of the things I'm most excited about is that my boys get to grow up, as Texans.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
so,
absolutely.
and I think that's really neat.
Yeah.
So, and then, me having these experiences and trying to make this part of my lifestyle will allow me to be, a better participant in how they learn it. So,
or just how they grow up too.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's
understanding where everything comes from.
Of course.
Like grocery store wise,
Of course.
Sure. Yeah.
And that, that's one of the neat parts. And Matt, you've done a lot of that, for me, and that, I've always gotten to experience the dishes you prepare, and, always really enjoyed it. And then hearing the stories behind those, kills and, how the meat's butchered, all this other stuff is, makes you appreciate that food a heck of a lot better.
Hey everybody, just wanted to take a moment to tell you about Sharing the Land. For those unfamiliar, Sharing the Land is an initiative that was brought together by Doug Duren to bring land access seekers and landowners together to form these unions to be able to better benefit the property. Very conservational minded, but it's also about getting people out there and sharing these experiences out on these properties and having them work in a more uniformed way to better benefit the property and the habitat. My company, Map My Ranch, which I work with Colin Williams, we make maps for people's properties all around the country, right? And one of the things that we do to be a part of this organization is we offer to make maps for the landowners. So if you sign up as a landowner, we're going to go ahead and put together a map for you, which shows your property, your boundary, and maybe any of the things that you want to have labeled. Maybe it's certain overlooks, or maybe it's certain, fencing areas where you're going to have this type of, agricultural work done, or maybe you're going ahead and growing this. Maybe these are some native seeds that you're focusing on. Whatever it is that you want to go ahead and have mapped, we're going to do that for you. That's a part of our contribution. We are a very proud sponsor of Sharing the Land, and will be for a long time. Love working with Doug. Wonderful, wonderful man. And this is a wonderful project. I highly suggest you guys go check it out. And there's a whole team of sponsors and partners that are a part of this that are just top notch. Go check out sharingtheland.com, and also go check out dougduren.com to learn more about all the wonderful things he's doing.
Yeah, it was interesting. We were butchering today because John stood next to me, while going basically gutting, skinning, butchering. And we were already having conversations standing there next, I think we were on the tenderloin, and we were talking about the ribs, and the pig was small enough where the belly could stay on the ribs, and I think just sort of provide just this little layer of meat and fat on top. And we were just talking about what, that this roast could go on the smoker, and then, just kind of looking at different muscle groups.
Yeah.
And
Seeing the meals and the muscles, right?
Oh yeah. No.
And it sounds naive, but you take it for granted.
Yeah.
Like when you're sitting there and you're eating something time and time again, and you understand the process, in an abstract way. Yeah. But then seeing it is really, really fascinating, because it's just all those thoughts and everything you take for granted just translates immediately into, oh, wow. This, it's kind of juvenile to say, but you think about zombie apocalypse movies where they're running around, hunting for their own food and all that stuff. It's you start thinking about things like that, and you're like, oh man, this is a lot harder than, you'd think it would be.
Yeah. Oh, that's honestly not what you're training for? Oh, okay.
That's right. You didn't know? That's the whole reason why I'm participating here. I just, I've been sneaking that in.
I understand. You didn't want to tell everyone, come
on.
I get it.
Well, it's interesting you saying that. There, I think today you saw sort of the first full circle skill set, right?
Yeah.
Last time you were here, we were shooting, we're just shooting down range, and my God, for somebody who's just first learning how to shoot guns, like, you are a natural. So that's something to get
that
into.
Felt really
Yeah,
good.
Yeah.
Johnny Boots was Johnny Bullseye that day.
God, he was Johnny Bullseye all
But
day
he was
long.
wearing the boots still,
Yeah.
so I still think that is
the
what,
boots is where I draw my power from.
the snake boots, man. They're and he's got some amazing things he's concocted with a certain type of sock that goes around his calf muscle, so you can wear the short little ankle socks too. And then he's got these like
You get the breathability.
you get the breathability. It's just like imagine like an armband or a headband or something that not many people wear that much anymore. And he brought this back into fashion.
I think my wife called them leg warmers. She was
Leg warmers. I can just see that too. You're like at nighttime getting that all together, and, cutting that thing and measuring it out. And, so what are you doing?
I thought we had more dress socks in this.
I mean, yeah. What the hell are you doing?
But to see the critter step out and the gun go up. I mean, it's different than downrange, right?
It is. It's very different.
Yeah, and it just happens. Like it was. We got the bullet down there fast today. And so I would imagine that probably what you saw today versus like all the talk of last week or last time we were here, that was probably a little bit. I don't know the right word. Is it? Would it be like not overwhelming, but almost like. Okay, that moment's more intense. Like you probably felt the intensity in there,
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
We had a buddy who was here who had my friend Mark Rendon. The first time he ever came out to the ranch, it was like in an April weekend or something, and I was out here, and that's the weekend you can hunt turkeys out here in this county, and so. He shows up, and we got like maybe an hour before the end of daylight. And I was like, get in the truck and like haul butt to this back field. And I'm like hoping to see some turkeys. I'm trying to give him a tour mainly, but I got my 12 gauge there. It's turkey season. It's ready to go in case, I got my turkey load. And all of a sudden we come out in this field and we see this turkey hauling butt. And I got out and I ran, and then I saw that he was going to go in the woods. So I racked one real quick and fired, and I hit it and went over to it. And like my friend's still sitting there in the truck. He's never been to the ranch. He's never been in this kind of environment. And then all of a sudden it's like, he's like, what just happened? Like if you had that be your very first experience, like what? He's like, and I remember
he just turned into a different kind of human all of a sudden.
Totally, man. Yeah. He's like, I remember we were like, butchering and stuff, and he just got this look, and he's just, it's like he's seeing this other side of me that he's heard little bits about. But when you come here and you have a trip before that happens, you saw like Matt took an amazing shot on a running squirrel and got it, and so you saw, put us taking small game, and. So you kind of had a like maybe it was a good warm up.
Yeah. It really is a good warm up because you get to see the blood and all this.
There's a dead animal.
It's all these things that honestly, you experience in your life, you don't experience them in this context, and that I think. I don't know. There's something almost calming about it.
Yeah.
Like I think that's what surprises me the most is that.
It's that primal thing, I think.
Yeah.
That can, like, I think the primal nature of all this sort of calms us down. Because, like, our environment, we all live in, cities that are buzzing, humming all the time. It's, like just always on, stressful. And then when you come out here and just sort of, do what humans have been doing for thousands and thousands of years, there's something primal and at the core of you, and I think it calms you. It's just a de-stressor all day.
Absolutely, it's like we were talking about when you're butchering that thing. Is someone was doing that 1,000 years ago? Yeah, same exact way.
5,000.
They made their own knife and all this, and it's like, but I mean, it's just crazy that there's really nothing different.
Yeah, I forgot to tell you when we were having that conversation that. When we were at another ranch in South Texas in December, I found a stone tool that was, like not an arrowhead, but an actual tool. And we suspected the way it fit in the hand and just the way it exposed like a sharp edge there that it was probably a skinner. And so I used it for a little bit just to skin I was doing it with a deer, but I was able to kind of get in there and skin away the skin from the muscle. And the knife, as a modern tool, definitely performs better, but it was working, and it was just neat. And it's been in the ground for I don't know how long.
Who knows? Hundreds or thousands of years. Yeah. Absolutely.
So
crazy.
Yeah. So that was kind of a neat experience. And then on that same trip, our buddy Colin, he had one his son made for him, right?
Yeah, they had done some flint napping classes, and then his son, he's about to leave and drive away, and Dad, wait. And he ran in the backyard. He's like, I made this for you. So for when you get your deer, I forgot he said something funny.
Yeah,
he's like, something
catch your deer,
when
right?
you catch your deer. He's like, when you catch your deer. I was like, well, that sounds like a challenge, Colin. I know he's been running a lot, so hopefully, he can get that short sprint thing. But he ended up getting a deer.
Yeah.
I won't spoil the surprise in case he ever tells you otherwise that, he did go and run it down. He didn't. And he ended up taking that, and he was skinning it. And it worked really well. Look, it was just like yours. I mean, it was really cool. I mean, obviously, putting the knife in your hand that's meant to do just that purpose.
Yeah.
It worked a lot easier, but it wouldn't have added that much of time doing it. It was really a cool thing to do and see process.
Yeah, we've been doing this for a very long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Humans.
Absolutely.
And it's, I grew up doing this. I mean, like, when I was still crawling on the ground, they basically learned to shoot prone position as a baby. They teach you way early here in Texas. Before you're even walking. So, like, you're kind of
incredible. When you really think about it, it's incredible. But it's that cultural part of it. I mean, it's always been going on.
Yeah, I mean, there are kids, anywhere from probably 6 to 12 years old, somewhere in that range, who learn how to handle a firearm, and I think my daughter is 10, and I think we're getting close to that time, I think, but if we grew up in an environment that was much more rural, I think she'd already be there, but it's just the exposure, right? But
yeah, and it's, she's been exposed in the sense that, Dad's a hunter and you bring back this game. There's some foraging. She's done some, I think, Mustang grapes and some dewberry picking out here. We got a little pear tree that provides well, and there's a lot of other things you can forage. So there's been a collection of things she's tried. And, edible dayflowers and things. It's like there's your daughter and my daughter have picked out here, and there's all these cool books that we're looking into and learning more and more about the land, because there's tons of stuff we're probably not even utilizing. But there's been an experience and kind of an introduction to that next level of it too. And she's taken some shooting courses at these camps and things to where there's
second place. On the
archery, right?
Yeah, well, third place on archery, second on the air rifle.
Yeah, that's great, man. Yeah. That's great.
I gotta get Jacob to try the air rifle.
I was like, natural. There we go.
That's awesome. No, that's absolutely awesome.
Oh, man, you're a natural, dude.
You are natural.
God,
I did not know. I didn't know, man.
And what's crazy is when you have the glass, like your hat and the glasses and the way you're over the gun. Yeah. I mean, it looks like you've been doing it for years. Years. You look like a shooter.
No, it was a good experience.
Yeah.
On that first downrange shot.
It was 100 yards, pink, like tink on the metal.
Yep.
And then you said go for 200.
I think, was there 2 shots you did at 100 first?
I did 2 shots at 100 and then went out to 200 and shot that and then switched guns, I believe. No. I did it twice. Yeah, because we did then 2 on the 200 and then the 300 and then switched guns and did the 300 again.
Yeah.
Or maybe even the 200 and the 300 again.
All I know is you were hitting metal every time.
Every time. And very close to the center. I mean, it was really good shooting, man. Well, and it's different people, because we talked about it a lot leading up to it through the drive there, and obviously, it people who know us, Matthew and I too, we're super safe, and we're, if we're introducing anybody to that, we're introducing the same kind of mentality that we have of safety and of responsibility and ethics, and all the morals and laws that are out there with hunting. So we kind of, I think my tendency is to overshare and overtalk anyhow. So which
I thought was actually super helpful, and extremely calming. Especially when you're looking, down the scope, 300 yards out, for someone who's not experienced, that's a long way. And so, you're looking in there and it's shaky, and you got to really just control your breathing. But I think that the way you all were instructing, and then also that focus on safety, because you hear a bunch of horror stories from guys who just do the wrong thing all the time when they're shooting, or they're goofing around and, flagging people left and right and doing all this crazy stuff. I think that the kind of focus that came from doing it the right way, and then, shooting at the end of the day when we've done all the things we were supposed to do, it was almost like that satisfying gift at the end of the day. And it just was really calm. Like, it felt like very, very structured and calm. And I think that's probably why I did so well, I swear.
I love the way that I hadn't ever seen anybody who I have taught pick it up the way you did, and that every single thing we talked about, I could tell that you were applying it, and was just really blown away by your ability at shooting, but about, as much or more so your handling of the firearm, how you were making sure everything was safe, the way that you were being very deliberate with your shot and not rushing anything, and making sure you're comfortable and doing the things that you'd want to do in a real hunting situation too. That applies, to make sure that you're making the most ethical shot there too. And, a lot of people, they might not get the best introductions to, firearms, and they may have some, timidness to it. Like we have a friend, Steve Hall, who's with Texas Parks and Wildlife, and he runs the, hunter education division. And he's got tons of people that, that he works with all around the state that are having these hunter education classes, which you have to have before you're doing hunting anyway. And that's something that, obviously we're looking for a good place for you before the hunting season starts. He's got a connection, down near us, I think in Richmond, but there's all these courses. If you learn from someone like that, that's, accredited and everything, they're going to teach you a way. And I almost feel like it might be a good introduction for some people. If you don't already have a mentor, you can trust. And sometimes people, and you get out the woods, they're a little different than what you thought they'd be. I've seen some people that are very unsafe that I thought were very safe, mishandling of firearms. And it's just like, whoa, you don't want to be around that, and it's like, that's one thing it gets that, can't pull a bullet back. So, I've seen some almost accidents happen, not by people that were in my party, but people that I was around. And it was just kind of like, okay, avoid them, or I've known people have left leases and things too. And they're like, oh, I won't hunt with that person. Oh, I won't go to their place anymore, whatever it is. Cause there's a responsibility, but, so I think we kind of, I wouldn't even say overemphasized it, because we just emphasized it and we talked about it. And then you just, the way that you came into that world with that, and really having that focus too. I think when you realize that, it's like, you know what the control is that you have to have, and there's and what you need to do. And then you can kind of enjoy it because you feel safe.
That's right. That's exactly right.
My buddy Mike Irwin, he was firing a pistol, and we were teaching about, we had different pistols here. So he's trying different things. And, talking about that idea of really wanting someone to walk them through everything and know exactly what's going to happen and what happens here. And, he's asking questions that were, is there a possible way that this bullet could ever be put, into the chamber without me doing anything? Nope. Okay, we'll walk it through, and we're, showing him every step of the gun and how the mechanics of the gun worked. And for him, if he knew how the mechanics of something worked, he was able to then be the safety number one, and then use safety number two on the firearm, and then where it's pointed, all the different safety mechanisms that bring up that. Because it's not just a safety on the gun itself. You're the first safety, and you got to do all those things.
That's so true, and that was extremely useful. One of the things, seeing you troubleshooting certain things, where you have a bullet jam, or it's you were checking the chamber, things like that. Being able to watch that and learn from that was actually really useful. So, and a lot of people, you know, I don't know, it comes back to, it's kind of sappy, but you know, when you have like buddies and you hear a lot of like stories about everything before, it's just like a very calm environment.
Yeah.
That's, you know, it's different.
Well, I'm glad that you're coming out here and experiencing it with us. I think it's, you know, I was talking with Matthew before about this too. And like, there's a group that I work with, called the Outdoor Stewards of Conservation Foundation. And they have a program called Come With. And like, their initiative is to really bring someone out with you that hasn't, you know, hunted, and kind of explore that with them, show them that side of life, show them what stewardship of the land is, and how you have this connection with the land. And like you said, you know, you have to like, you said, you earn your fun, right? You know, or earn your hunt, or whatever it is that you, I think it's not this like, oh, I'm making sure that Jonny Boots does this many hours before he can hunt here. It's not that. You're earning it for yourself, because you're earning an appreciation, a love, a connection to this side of things, and your primal self, and providing for your family, and having a skill set you can teach your boys, and being able to survive in certain elements. If, you know, being able to use a firearm, if there's anything that like, you're earning a badge, and like that, you know, adult scouting, right? Like you're getting this like, and so many multiple, you know, badges. I mean, and also like we talk about like troubleshooting, that's one of the biggest things we do out here in the ranch. There's always something that is breaking down. You're here, problems. Tire went flat. What do? You got burrs on this. You got to grind them down. You got to take this in to get fixed. You got something else. Another tractor's being dropped off over here to get worked on. There's always things that are, you know, I can repair this, or I can try to figure this out. You know, we're repairing a water line today. Like there's things that we're always doing here that I think adds to the experience badges, you know? Yeah,
absolutely.
But it's still part of what it takes to have the full stewardship and caring for the land. And so it's, you know, it's cool that to be seeing someone with fresh eyes doing it, because you know, I sometimes take things for granted when, you know, you bring someone with you.
Absolutely.
It's a fun thing to kind of re-experience way. I mean, do you feel that way, Matt? Like, is that something that you, when you see someone else learning that kind of thing, it's like kind of brings you back to whenever you first started?
Oh, yeah. That's what I was talking about earlier, in a way, in terms of like the emotional side of it. I love, I think for anyone who takes the outdoors seriously, there's always that it's that you've been talking about juvenile like feelings or whatever, but like if you shoot that first deer, I probably might be more excited than you in the moment, honestly.
It happens in the moment, probably.
It happens that way. Like, I remember being completely overwhelmed with the particular deer that I shot last year, just because it was the biggest deer I've ever shot, and it was just real special. And in the moment, George, I think he jumped when he saw it and did a 360 and screamed, and like it was. I mean, because again, it's that like you're so happy for somebody to do something for their first time.
Absolutely. I mean, it was that sharp cactus too, but it was. I was very excited. And that's cool to, you know, when you're celebrating what your friends are doing. Like you were always been like that for me, and I have never seen a deer in person that big, and that was such a joy. And I mean, the connection of. You know, I just wanted to fill in the quick story of that, because like the year before, Matthew had shot a buck in the same spot in the road, but it had run 40 yards in the other direction from the road than this one did. So it was like all these synchronicities of things.
It was amazing.
It was like, and then I had shot my biggest buck at that ranch, that same sit, but Matthew didn't know at the time that I had, but I internally had done that, and we were keeping it a secret. So when I saw his buck, and I was just blown away by, that's like the most amazing buck ever. It's so awesome that we've seen out there in a long time. At least I've seen in person. And it was just kind of fun, because like I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe we both did this, but I couldn't tell you yet too. So I was very excited jumping around, and I would have been anyway, because it's like your buddy gets you know, at that point, the buck of their lifetime. And so it's it's not that there's these numbers of points or thickness of, this was a massive deer. So it's like, for us, it's like, it's a massive amount of meat. And, but he had earned, as you're kind of earning too, Johnny, like
I was just thinking about that.
He's like earned like that level of when he gets this fully mature buck, 6.5 years old. It's the quintessential South Texas massive buck with, and so it's like you're earning that experience, and that experience is something that's culminated in like the penultimate of like that species there,
sure,
which is kind of a goal set for a lot of people there too. But like, if that had it, 10 points, 9 is, I think it was like it, or if it had like 15, it doesn't matter. Like in your mind, with the antlers, other than it looks cool to see and have that,
memory, right?
Memory, not a trophy of like, haha, I got this. It's more of like, cause everyone you've taken, we can look up above us right now. There's deer antlers hanging up all here, all these, all these Euro mounts or freedom mounts, I guess as they're called. And so they're, every single one, I can tell you a story about each one and what culminated up to it. But what culminated for you, I felt, was like the years that you passed the massive buck that was only 4.5 years old, and like the things that you kind of.
Well, earning is almost like it's what we were talking about earlier. I guess you earn through time and experience, but to me, I think about more, again, the layers of information, and we're talking about that with you, like you're starting to layer on some information. And I just gotten to the point where last year, I could see a very mature buck step out, and within 8-10 seconds, it's being shot. That's not something you can do sitting in the stand for the first time. You just have to layer on the experience and the time and so it's one of those things where not only will your experiences layer up, but you're coming into, you were talking about bringing someone into the hunting world. You're going to be layering this experience up with your boys too. And so it's not just having one person coming into that. We're bringing 3 people into the hunting world, Yeah.
And then my daughter and your daughter, it's like, we're all going to be.
But I mean, we're doing it.
We're doing
now.
It.
He's coming into it. Sure. And that's 3 more people, and I think that's, amazing.
It's a really good effort, that kind of program or that idea to bring people who, I think everybody should, and I remember, I'm jumping here, but Matt, we've been friends for a long time, and I remember us talking about kind of the lack of, that Renaissance man nowadays. Yeah. Like it was like 6 or 7 years ago we were having that conversation. Yeah. And, I was always fascinated, Matt being an architect and, teaching me a lot just about, building and design and everything else, and thinking a lot about, how these buildings are built from craftsmen, and the difference between a craftsman and just some guy slapping up walls.
Right. Yeah.
That's really, I think, translated into a lot of my excitement about learning about hunting and getting into this lifestyle, because it's something that I think everyone should have, and it's missing from a lot of people's lives. And appreciation for it is missing.
A connection to nature.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's really intimate connection. So, it's for me, it's just like every trip now is just going to be layered in with a bunch of new exciting stuff.
That's right.
And it hasn't failed at all. It's been
the
very,
ranch
very
always
fun.
provides.
The ranch provides.
It really does. It really does.
I mean, it is such a thing, ranch problems and like the ranch providing experiences, that I was on a fishing trip a couple of days ago, and at the end of it, we brought the boat back to the launch, and we tied it down. My friend was gonna go get the trailer, and he steps over there and he just looks, and he's just staring for a minute, and me and my other buddy were like, oh man, something's wrong. something's wrong. We're just kind of like, what is it? And then eventually he comes down and he says, the tire blew. And then like we kind of looked at each other and we're like, ranch problems.
Ranch problems.
We literally said that. Like,
you sent me a text with a picture. You're like, ranch problems. Like,
yeah.
I know exactly what. Yeah. Oh, totally. There's always something here, but
that's the fun. I mean,
helps you be resourceful, man.
Yeah,
you got to figure things out. I mean, even today, like, you got the gramble, is it called? I think where you're putting the animal up on, right? Yeah. So like, we got the hog upside down, heads at the bottom, and the back feet. You've cut a hole through like a spot in their legs by these tendons to where you're going to be hanging this thing to where you can kind of go and start your butchering. And we didn't have one that was short enough. They were not narrow enough. They were too wide. So we're like looking around and stuff and finding things that, there's a lot of things up on the wall in the barn where it's like, okay, we're looking at your chain and I got these hooks, and we kind of, did our inner MacGyver best and totally fixed the solution, man. But it's like, it's not how it's supposed to be done. No, but it look at it, that worked really well. Yeah. And it's like, you can keep moving. Because like out here, it's like, and I don't claim to be a farmer or like, like a rancher, like my family was, and in my past, my grandfather, and, on down the line, greats and whatnot. Like, there's a different level of ingenuity in things, I have a bunch of surplus things that I've saved or stuff from stores that I've like, I might need this someday. And then today was that one day after it's been here for 10 years, but
yeah. I'm glad it was there.
Glad it was there, man. It's like, there's some junk. Oh, man, what do you? We're going to take it to the ranch. We'll use it.
We'll use it.
We'll use it eventually.
It doesn't depreciate at the same rate out here.
That's right.
It really doesn't. Things that you would like throw in your garage that you'd have no use for whatsoever.
They have
back
value.
In the city. They have value here.
Yeah,
that's right. Well, and it's so true.
Think about it too. Like the zombie training 101 stuff that you're doing now. This is more a 201 level thing, but you're kind of getting a little bit of it now, because you're not going to be able to go into the stores if there's a bunch of zombies in them.
That's
so
right.
you kind of got to build your own surplus. For things you may need, whatever that may be, and sometimes it's those little knickknacks.
100%.
It's important stuff.
It really is.
And
interesting.
in the moment, I knew something was going to present itself too. There was no panic of like, oh, we're going to do this. I was just like, okay, what's next? Oh, let's try that thing. Well, let's try that thing.
I'm going to go find all that crap I put up years ago and haven't touched, but it's now displayed to where you can see it. That was the point, right? You've seen this, the evolution of organization. Because the more you're organized, the less time you have to spend because you're disorganized. And it's just like out here, we put all these pegboards and stuff. So it's like, you can see that size wrench or this chain or this type of coupling or whatever it may be. It's important. So
totally.
I think that's, I was always wondering when my granddad had all that crap in the barn. And now I'm like, he probably used all that crap, or he was fixing to.
Totally.
No.
Well, you always find a use for it.
That's right.
Right? And I don't know.
What is it? Necessity is the mother of invention.
Yeah.
Yep.
Invention, right? Like sometimes you're like, I didn't think those things would go together, but right on.
Totally.
What's your second time out here? What's your, have you been able to formulate in your mind now a potential goal for the next 6 months, in terms of where you like?
Well, I'll tell you the goal that really popped out this morning was, shooting a pig and then shooting a doe.
Yeah.
Like that when we were talking about that this morning, that really crystallized in my mind.
Right.
I mean,
what you saw.
Yeah, that was a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it was one thing to sit on the range and, hit steel, and it's just, super fun and exciting and all of that. But then it's another thing to think about, okay, as I'm watching you just freaking nail that thing, like lights out, and then, bringing it back, watching it get butchered, all that. That kind of crystallized in my mind as like a goal for, to gear up
that was your carrot.
And kind of think about this fall as an opportunity, to potentially do that for the first time. So,
hunter safety course next.
Yep, that's right.
And I think, you know, we were talking about taking our wives there too, maybe our kiddos. And it's like, I kind of want to sign up I took one a long time ago.
Yeah.
Obviously I had to, and you did too, you know, to some extent. But I think, you know, with Steve's buddy there, I think it'd be a cool thing to, you know, I mean, we'll obviously go, but yeah, that's great. I mean, even your kids, maybe just do it.
Yeah, actually, it's not a bad idea.
Hey, everybody. Just want to take a minute to tell you guys about Horizon Smokers. That's right. Horizon Smokers, the best smokers I've ever used. I love barbecuing. I love grilling. I love smoking. And all my needs were met with one awesome unit. I've got the 20-inch RD Special Marshall Smoker. I got this from Horizon Smoker a few months ago, and I have been using it. I love it. I have made some hog ribs on it. I've done some deer. I've done sausage, vegetables. I've got a brisket that's just waiting to be cooked this weekend. They make some of the best smokers. I mean, it's just hard to get your head around it until you see the quality and construction of these builds. They have a convection plate that you can move back and forth to eliminate that hot spot or create that hot spot. If you want to cook something over here at this temperature and you want to throw your brisket on at this temperature on the back end, man, you can work with it. I've got 2 temperature gauges, which kind of help me control each, you know, heat unit on either side. I got some grilling I'm going to be doing on that pretty soon on the right side. So you can use it, barbecue, grill, smoker, whatever it is you want to do, you can do it with the Horizon Smokers. So go over there to horizonsmokers.com today, figure out which one's right for you and place that order. Tell them I sent you. George Blitch, Son of a Blitch Productions, Matt My Ranch over here. And check it out.
And there's also a book by Ryan Kleckner, former man of service, who's an amazing long range shooter, has a long range shooting handbook, a book that he's written that's just phenomenal. But he has a kid's book too, which really teaches like firearm safety. And it's like, it may be, I mean, actually, it's probably right at the age for your boys. And so it's like, it's a really cool book. So I'll let you borrow that one there too. Yeah. But it's like, there's some things that, you know, like as we kind of talk to you about, you can talk to them about. So when they go up to that and someone's teaching them for the first time, there's a little bit of familiarity and there's about the seriousness of things too. But like, you know, sometimes it's like they say it's better to have other people teach your kids certain skill sets. It's like there's certain things about having you do it as well. But it's like, I think in coordination with people who that's their job and they work with kids all the time, they might be able to see, okay, there's a timidness in this kid about this thing here. Let's make sure we explain this part a little bit better. Whatever, that I wouldn't know how to do it because I haven't been instructed to do that. So it's like,
I couldn't agree more on that.
I think it's
especially as it relates to that.
Yeah.
And I think while taking this course and also like immersing yourself into this culture, you want to speak in a way about the culture and about what we do that comes from a place of a lot of integrity and intelligence. And I think Michael's book, I forget his last name, sorry, but
Michael Sabbath.
Michael Sabbath, yeah. What's the title of that book again?
Well, there's one for the hunter education.
The hunter education.
Yeah. So the name escapes me right now. But yeah, his book is a book that is written for hunter education, instructors.
Yeah, it's a supplement.
But it is, I find it absolutely, it's super well written, and it gives you a really great connection as just a person who's out there hunting and as well, like not even in that role of being an instructor. I think it has something for everyone in it. But it talks about,
there's a seriousness of that book that I think you would enjoy in terms of the advocacy for this lifestyle.
And the ethical and moral, behaviors that you have to have and walking in, honor and truth of what you're doing and the responsibility therein. And, as they're trying to say, hey, while you're teaching these people these skill sets and how to do these things the right way and do it safely, embed in them that idea of why you're doing something ethical and why you're doing something that is lawful and why this is the law and all the different kind of layers of, as we talk about layers of that. And it's a really great book. And he's obviously his other one's really good too. He's a cool guy. You guys got to check that out. Honorable Hunter.
Well, if people knew more about that and understood that more, and it was more just pervasive in normal conversation, then I think people would have a more appreciation for, lawfully used, guns. I think there's so much,
well, there's
random, irrational thought about that.
Yeah, it's just misinformation. I think
that's exactly what it is.
It's a lack of understanding. I mean,
this is in many ways the facets of all that y'all do out here is a science. I mean, it's something that takes study, commitment,
skills.
Lots of very high level skills.
Yeah, there's a skill set for sure,
and those skills through experience. So.
I think that's one thing I've enjoyed the most over the years. And again, talking about this layering, is the skill set can almost kind of help you in other avenues too. Like one that I always like to talk about is hunting. As you saw today, how long were we in that? Were we in the blind? Maybe 2 hours.
Yeah, about a couple hours.
And I don't think you're used to sitting for that long in an uncomfortable situation. Like you would naturally in your house, you'd get up and find a better spot, a more comfortable spot. Right. And so, you stood up a couple times, and I'm not saying I'm not criticizing you anyway, but I'm just saying sometimes this example, when it's a little hot, or it's just I'm tired, or I'm uncomfortable in these moments of waiting. I've been able to face uncomfortable moments in other parts of my life a little bit easier. And I don't mean I'm talking physically,
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, what did you say? It was you got to suffer a little bit.
Yeah, you have to suffer a little bit.
And I think that being able to almost suffer and have fun at the same time, experience that, hot and cold.
As soon as you see something,
really, it's really invigorating.
Yeah,
and I could totally see that. Being useful in other parts of your life. I mean, where it's just, you sit there and it makes you think about things differently. Mm-hmm. I mean, even when I came back from the ranch, my wife was like, "Wow, you seem really calm."
Dude, she told me that. I was like, "Hey," we came over to your house for that dinner and hanging out, and I was like, "Hey, are you okay with the fact that, Matthew and I took your husband out and took him out in the woods, and kind of, did we bring him back all right?" And she's like, "You guys should take him more often. That was the most relaxed he's been. It was so good for him. I don't know what you guys it sounded like a lot of work and everything too, but I was like, it was all of it. He just did everything great, but you just had, that air, that aura about you of relaxed." She's like, "Sounds like a magical place." Pretty cool.
Take him back.
Yeah. It was okay, cool. Can he come next month? Because we got a lot of stuff to work on.
I could see how people would resist it, and may not have that experience. But no, I definitely had a lot of inner peace.
Yeah,
coming out of it.
It's not for everyone, and I mean we're not. What we're doing here, it's we're also coming back into an air-conditioned house to do a podcast, and the full electricity and all of the things. We're not.
Yeah, we're not camping.
We're not out there on the mountains doing what some guys do. That's a different level of hunting, and I don't claim to be that, but it's the things that we do year-round around here, which is what also.
Yeah, and it's okay to not be that.
Yeah.
Because it's just a different culture. It's a different lifestyle.
Landscape.
It's a different approach to hunting. Mm-hmm. Texas it's game rich. Yep. It is so game rich, and there's just the rules are set in place in different ways, and
it's so much private land. It's not.
Oh, absolutely. There's that too. There's those variables, and and I feel like I'm proud to be doing this every year, and I know one thing. My freezer has meat in it that is way better than anything you're going to find at any market.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and what do you have right now in your freezer? You don't have to tell about exactly how many animals, but what all game animals are in your freezer right now?
Deer, whitetail deer, pig, javelina, duck, squirrel, rabbit, quail, dove. I mean,
you just added to it last week.
Squirrel.
Squirrel.
Yeah.
Squirrel.
You like that really
was he saying?
gamey
Squirrel.
stew and stuff.
It's cool though.
Yeah, I know.
But
No, but-
as you found out, it's all about technique and how you cook it. I'm
That's
no
true.
chef, but like I can follow a recipe very well.
I will tell you this, Matt. There's things that I never thought in a million years I would eat that I have eaten.
Right.
That you have brought over and I have eaten. So you've expanded my palate, my friend.
Oh, and we're just at the first layer
yeah,
of
I
that
know. We're
stuff.
not even deep into it yet.
So I'm eating raw deer heart? Yep, that's what you're doing now. That's what you're doing.
Tartar.
Oh my gosh, it was so good.
Oh, man.
Actually, we had served that over there when Michael Sabbath came here, and I remembered his book. It's The Honorable Hunter. It's the instruction training manual, and I think it's How to Honorably and Persuasively Defend and Promote Hunting. So for those who are looking to get that book, that's the one, The Honorable Hunter, that we were mentioning earlier. When he came out here, we served, I think, 3 or 4 wild game dishes that night. And these guys, Steve Hall and Michael Sabbath, both of which will be on the podcast in the future. But those guys came in here and they've hunted all over and, outshine us in the experience category and that kind of stuff.
Outlayer us.
Outlayer us.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. I like that.
Yeah.
A lot of layers in here. It's like a triple tiramisu. And so we ended up cooking 3 different wild game dishes, and then we caught some bass here too, so it was like the 4th one that was it was the next day he had it. But like there's all these different meals that we've rocked out, and you've tried a lot of them too, but there's so many yet to come. I mean, talk about the dish that you're going to do, and then tell me exactly when you're going to do it next week so that I can be over, because I'm ready to try this out. It's the
the Super Mega?
The Super Mega 4000. Tell me about this.
But before you go into that, do most, obviously experienced hunters and everything, in your experience, do they take the kind of artisan food approach to game hunting? I mean, is it...
I think more and more are.
Okay.
I do. I think our parents' generation, and some people in our generation, actually a lot of people use a processor, right? And that's again, that's kind of cultural as well. But there are a lot of people who are stepping outside of that a little bit more, because in the last, I don't know, 5-6 years, there's been, to me, what seems like quadruple the amount of like chef-oriented cookbooks that are available to like how to handle wild game. Where before, no one, the culture was like, harvesting, right? And then once you do that, you would process the deer and enjoy it. But there wasn't this gigantic culture of cooking that there is today, I think. Because like even our generations like are cooking more, and we're doing more. We're inspired by these chefs like way more. And there's just the thing about beer, right? How many microbreweries are there? I mean, I think just as a peoples these days, we're able to, like take deeper dives in flavors, and and that's an experience to all of us, to be able to go to a really nice dinner party and experience like all different flavors. We're seeking out foods that our parents would have. So I think it's part of that. I think that's where hunters,
and everyone's a chef now. It's
that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
As foodies have evolved and all that, it's kind of neat that can parallel.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because now they get to not only produce these amazing dishes, but they can also say, hey, and I also, kill this myself. It's like that kind of thing.
That's right. Yeah.
Anyway, sorry I interrupted.
Well, no, it also brings me, like, one of the things that Matthew and I did last year is we interviewed a bunch of wild game chefs, and we talked to them about different levels of preparation and butchering, and then the meals and certain tips and tricks for, people who may be kind of just coming into that. And, we were talking about just today, we've got a lot of amazing guests coming up for this fall, because we're going to do that again. We got Lance Lewis with Tagged Out Kitchen. We got Jesse Griffiths. Obviously, we talked about the Hog Book, his other book, Afield, another cookbook that's award-winning. His restaurant, Dai Due, new School of Traditional Cookery. He's got a lot of cool things going on. We got Hank Shaw, who, just said last week he's going to be aboard. So, we got some dates we're going to figure out for all that. We got some other chefs, too, that we've reached out with. Some amazing high-end award-winning, these chefs that are just super helpful in all the things they've done, whether it's YouTube or Instagram or whatever, their restaurants or the classes that they teach online. the volunteer work that they may do with new, cooks and chefs, and then also with folks who are doing wild game, gourmet. And that's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to that. Like I always learn so much when we're having those conversations with those people, just like because we're having a direct, we're asking a lot of broad questions for people, so everyone kind of can have something from it. But there's parts of it where like, I think Matt was asking, Larry White, Wild Game Gourmet last year. He's like, I have this and I want to do this with it, I think, but what would you do and how would you do it? And he's like, this. And so it's like, we're taking notes. That guy is amazing. And he, just also just the display, the artistry of seeing some of this food and how it like ends up on a dish. I mean, it's a whole nother layer. Another layer. See, we need to have like some.
That's a really deep layer, though.
It is,
and it's something that with YouTube and all this, social media platforms and everything. That's it's profound how much knowledge in terms of cooking, preparation, all these, processes that were completely black box,
right,
are now available in mass. And I think it's one of the most, interesting things about these social media platforms, and then how it ties back into what, y'all are doing in terms of talking with the specialists and
but then also cooking at home and introducing people who have no connection to the outdoors. Like this is this species cooked in a way at its highest level. And
totally,
this isn't like your grandfather's friend who like cut a steak and cooked it for an hour. And, this is something very different.
I'm going to use the steel chainsaw to cut this one up, fellers.
It's gamey. It's like, I've heard that more, like I just hear that so much that every time somebody tries something that I'll cook, and again, this is coming from cookbooks. It's not I'm not creating anything here. So, but I always hear, wow, that wasn't gamey. And I'm like, I don't even know what gamey is.
Because it was so gamey before. Think about it. Like, go back 15 years. Man, like what you're saying is so, but yeah, go ahead, because you're about to say probably it's like the gaminess, like that term is almost what disappearing is what you're saying.
Well, to me, I don't understand it because like
you don't know what it defines.
I don't even know what it is because like when I taste something, again, no ego or anything, but when I taste something I'm cooking from these recipes, I'm like, it tastes great. I don't know what it defines. I don't know what gaminess means. In that regard.
Man, this tastes deery. This tastes elky. This is like they each have their own taste. It's not. I mean, if you maybe chicken fry something, this tastes like
that's
whatever
true.
else. Like there's maybe some things that
like foreign might be a better word. It tastes foreign because that's really what it is, right? Because I remember when you first taste. And it's not prepared maybe in a special way.
Yeah.
But you taste deer meat for the first time. You taste venison for the first time. And it tastes gamey. What you'd think as what is described to you as gamey is what it tastes like, right? Especially
something wild.
If someone hasn't, prepared it properly or done anything interesting, or maybe gives you less than ideal cut of meat, because there's so much more that I've learned just watching you guys about how many different, cuts and all the different flavor profiles of everything. And, being able to throw the backstrap on the green egg and eating it medium rare, and it just melts in your mouth and you're sitting there going, geez, this is as good as a filet. Right. But people are so used to, they grow up, they go 15 years and all they eat is hamburger meat and filet on their birthday, right? And that's all they know.
Yeah, and if that's gamey, then game
that's
on,
right.
Man.
That's
I'm
right.
down. I'm awesome.
That's
in.
right.
I'm in.
But your palate from a young age was, delivered all kinds of different flavors and different things that other people would consider gamey. But I will say that the preparation and the recipes that go into these, wild game dishes it's totally next level now.
It is, yeah.
So I don't taste any of that, foreignness or anything.
And also, like these cookbooks actually teach you how to, like even if you're trying to be simple, like how to cook a piece of meat. Like out of the MeatEater cookbook, I think the title of it of this particular recipe is like how to cook a hunk of meat or something like that.
Cook
right?
a perfect roast or something like
Something
that. I forgot
like
what it was.
that.
Yeah. But it's like, here's how to not screw it up.
Yeah, and it's like pay attention to this temperature, a particular temperature, and I think that book says 125, and it's what we have all learned. Like set a piece of meat out, let it come to room temperature,
Right.
sprinkle the hell out of it with salt and pepper, season it,
Right.
Have something really hot where you can sear it,
Yep.
and then depending on the size, roast it or egg it or whatever method, smoke it, whatever. But
Make
there's
sure
some
it's the
steps
right time.
leading
Make
up.
sure it
Yeah.
rests.
Yeah.
All those things that it's kind of second nature now. But I remember when I was in my 20s and the food scene was really just coming alive.
Yeah.
And no one did any of that shit at home.
No.
I mean, no one. That was fancy restaurant stuff.
Yeah.
And now it's you can find 1,000 ways on YouTube to cook the perfect steak.
You're right.
It really does make a difference. It's amazing, and to be able to see that with the wild game stuff, to see those dishes come to life is actually it's pretty cool.
Yeah, Steven Ranella, I don't remember where. I think it was one of his MeatEater episodes. Just said you either barely cook it at all or you take it to many hours, slow cooking. There's not much of an in between when it comes to wild game.
Yeah,
and that's a big learn. That's something to learn.
That's important. And because some people they overcook certain hunks of meat that it's like
it's not good.
You have to do it in a certain way. Like when you eat like a tenderloin or even a backstrap or heart, and you eat it where it's just barely cooked. And the texture and the taste and the richness that you have, it's completely different than if you have something that's medium or medium well, and absolutely different well. But it's the layers of differences in how that tastes. And I was cooking some things for way too long, and then as I'm learning and seeing more people cooking it less, and then I would try it then, and now I have no problem. We've had the tartare, we've had things that are raw, and that's delicious as well. And at Jesse Griffiths' restaurant, Dai Due, I think it was the Neil Guy tartare. And there's like certain things that whenever you realize that, you can eat it like this, and you hear people doing it, and maybe growing up, you're like, oh, no way, just because you didn't know another way. And then now it's like, oh, well, this James Beard award-winning chef or this guy who has multiple cookbooks over here running MeatEater, these guys are saying this, and it's like, I might start listening to people who seem to know what they're talking about the most there.
Oh, yeah,
and
absolutely.
Then you go, okay, what's the next recipe? And now, we're talking about Matthew and I. It's a challenge. I don't know how long it's going to take. I don't know if we need to put a timeline on it or just say sometime we're going to go through that entire Hog Book. There's a copy over there on the shelf. I just saw it and I was thinking about when you were saying that, and try every single one of those recipes. And, and what we're doing now too, and Boots knows about this. He'll probably be on some of the episodes too, but Matthew and I are running BDT Cooks. We're going to be putting together kind of a show, have a lot of video. We'll probably have some podcasts around it too. And it'll be kind of in conjunction with our work with all the, wild game chefs and cooks that we'll be talking with here soon. But cooking a lot of these things that they've had recipes for and showing kind of from the very beginning. But, now it's like today we're out there, and it's like the very beginning is like the hunt and talking about that, and maybe taking some pictures along the way of like butchering, and here's what you're doing, and this is how, this has been suggested to be butchered. This is how you keep it in the cooler, and you put it around contractor bags so there's not going to get water on that, and you're keeping it off of the ice directly. All the different things that have been stuff that we've learned and that have been suggested by these people, that we're going to kind of take you in that sense of cradle to grave and show all the different things. And the final product is that, maybe that shot cutting through the steak or whatever it is, or the brisket, and kind of seeing, okay, here it is. But like, that's like I think the ultimate trophy that we have, like when we're hunting at the end of the day, is when we're all sitting around with our friends. We're sharing stories about how we earned a hunt, and we earned that experience. We earned the food that's on the table, and we're sharing it with our family and friends, and it just becomes full circle. And then that's like that trophy's that final time you get to do it. So it's very special to Matthew and I, and it's becoming more special, obviously, to you. And I think that'll only grow with that. But I think that's something that I'm definitely excited how, all these things that we got coming this fall to be able to start kind of promoting and showing, that side of what we're doing as well, because we'll talk about it on the podcast, but then being able to have a video that's like, hey, here's exactly what we were mentioning when we were trying these, different dishes. Here's how we make the popper cash. Okay.
Yeah, it's gonna, it's something we're already doing anyway.
Yeah.
So I think it'd be fun to record and like put it out there a little bit in terms of hopefully other people can get inspired, because I feel like, again, every time someone tastes something from the wild that is very tasty and delicious and good, that it only is another positive spin out there for our entire culture and what we like to do.
Yep, 100%, man. No, it's a fun thing to be doing here with you guys, and I know I'm looking at the time over here, and starting to get a little cooler. We probably got to go put our work hats back on. We're gonna get some mowing done, clearing some lanes, filling some feeders out, getting the SD cameras swapped out, and being able to start kind of monitoring the deer as like they're kind of moving out of velvet into their full hardened antlers, and you can kind of be able to see them, side by side and evaluate their age class. There's a lot of things we have to do, or we're running, game trail cameras all year round, but a certain time of year where we have to get a consensus count to the wild game biologist to give us, based on the county data, the area around here, our acreage, what he thinks is we should take to kind of keep the best habitat for the wildlife that are native, and while we're continuing to do this invasive stuff, we're looking at all these pictures and evaluating what to do and there's a science behind all this. And that's kind of the side that we're doing too tonight, is kind of cutting the grass so you can see those pictures better, so you can have better evaluations, so you can get real numbers. And, we also do these stand counts in the fall too, where we can, what are you seeing with your eyeballs, and, various game trails to identify those counts. So that's kind of what we're going to rock out tonight, and kind of, set this thing up a little bit closer towards hunting season. Because although we've already got a squirrel and the hog in the freezer now from you, Matthew, it's like we got some other animals to look after this fall with some awesome white-tailed deer. So
yeah, are we still on last year's hunting season, or is this the beginning of the new year? I know in Texas we buy our license in August. Yep. But it sure as heck feels like it's the beginning of the season right now. I think it's because all the work is related to the upcoming season.
Right. And I'm curious to hear what everyone else that, those who are listening to, write in and let us know, what do you think? Are we at the tail end of the season? Because like calendar wise, when they come out, as far as your licenses, I guess we would be, but because we're still in that, set until a couple more months, but
feels like turkey season sort of puts the buttons up.
I feel like that's the closeout.
The season, yeah.
I feel like that's the closeout. It's that because then it also starts getting real hot out here, and it feels like it's like you're earning.
I can't wait to see this guy. I can't wait to see Boots with an old dinosaur bird sitting in like 20 feet in front of him, or 20 yards in front of him, and lets out the old, like, stretches its neck out and gives him the biggest gobble he's like for the first time that he's ever heard or seen. Like, I mean, that's an amazing.
You know what he's going to probably do? He's going to like whip out a lasso and catch that thing. And then like let it go. And we're going to like, just to like be like, yep, I can do that to you. That just put the fear in all the turkeys. Well, I know that he used to work, on some ranches. So there was some Jonny Roots there. I know that there's some work there. So there's like, I don't know, you lassoing down trees and stuff. I heard some tall tales. I don't know which ones are true, pulling them up by the roots and stuff. But I heard he could, I think he might do that with the turkey. A bare hand.
But
did I say bare hands? I meant bare hand. I did it with one hand. Lassoed it with my arm. Yeah. So yeah, when a turkey's in front of him, though, that's going to be.
That's going to be an experience. I'm very excited for that.
By the way, that is like
when I came out and saw the wild turkeys. first time out here.
Yeah.
That was really neat.
Yeah, they're an experience when they're mating. You know, in
bet.
April. I mean, it is neat watching them strut around and like call out to each other, and just it's incredible. So, I would say it's the beginning of the season.
Let's go with the beginning. That's 2. What about you?
You know what? I'm going to say beginning too. I'm going to go
your
with
beginning.
it. Yeah,
That's for sure.
there's no
That's
doubt.
great. Good. That
Cool.
you answered well, because we were going to actually kick you out tonight if you didn't answer that right. So, man, well, guys, thanks for all you guys are doing out here and helping out with the ranch. And we're every time we come here, I see more and more developments and things that we're putting together to make this a better place for the habitat, for all the wildlife, and, for our families and, our other friends. And what this is just, leaving it better. And like, it's a joy to be, it's like with Doug Duren was sharing the land, working with, landowners, land, users, in the sense like I feel like there's a level of that here too, where we're this collaborative effort that we're all, really, I feel like the land user, and we're just like, we are the stewards of the land. It's like we're just caretakers of the time with our family, and who knows, we're just trying to make it better while we're here. So to have the support and the encouragement and the layers of fun that come with doing this with you guys, it's great. And so this has been a fun kind of walk down that podcast that I appreciate. I think a lot
Thanks
of people
for the opportunity, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
Always.
absolutely.
Always.
You're welcome.
No.
Absolutely.
It's
a blast.
These things, it's funner to do together, as
That's
they
right.
say.
You betcha.
Well, guys, we'll sign off now and go get back to work. But everyone, thanks for listening once again, gentlemen. Thank you, and
Thank
we'll
you.
talk to y'all later.
All right. Peace.
Oh boy, I'm excited. I just got this tripod in the mail from Spartan Precision Equipment. This is their Sentinel tripod, which is so light, I forgot that I was even holding it. This thing is amazing. These carbon fiber legs, super light. It's got, one of their classic adapters here on the top here. This is what you'll see on the Davros Pro head as well. This is their, the head is, you can kind of check it out now. This will go with all the bottoms of all the optics and, the adapters that are bottom of the stocks on your rifles. I know I'm going to be using this for multiple different, functions. I'm going to take this in the field with me. Let's say I see a hog, man, I'm putting the adapters on the bottom of my stock on my rifle, and I'm taking a shot, and I'm going to go ahead and get some bacon and the freezer for the family. Also, if I'm out there and I see something cool, some neat hawks or, some white-tailed deer running around and everything, I'm going to go ahead and grab my camera, which has an adapter on the bottom for their heavy-duty adapters. And I'm going to throw it on here, and I'm going to get a real steady, awesome, clear shot on video and for photography. As well, if I'm out glassing somewhere and I need something steady that's lightweight to take in the field with me, I'm taking this. I can be using it for my spotting scope or for my binoculars. Look, whatever you need, Spartan Precision Equipment has exactly the thing for you for out in the field. Go to havilandbipod.com and check out their awesome line of products. I really, really think that you're going to enjoy it. I know I will. So yes, the Sentinel tripod. Thank you so much, Spartan, for sending this. I can't wait to be using this on future hunts, filming for the upcoming TV show. Wait, upcoming TV show? Spoiler alert, BDT Cooks this fall. Stay tuned. Me and Matthew Mitchell, we got some things coming your way. Hunting and cooking. Wild game at its best.